Hey everyone, Mr. DVB here. In today's video, I'm going to be covering more Last of Us Part 2 news. In particular, I'm going to be covering the plot leak that came out at the beginning of this month, which focuses on everything that happens in The Last of Us Part 2. This originally came out on 4chan, where it was quickly removed. It then spread to Imgur, then to YouTube, where a lot of different YouTubers covered it, and then made its way to even some pretty big news companies. So this is certainly, spread around the internet very, very fast. Obviously, Last of Us Part 2 is a very hot topic right now. And yeah, a lot of things have spawned from this. A lot of controversial stuff, a lot of, discussions and whatnot. I covered the whole homophobic Christian cult thing, which came from this leak that spawned from this. And that caused a lot of discussion and controversy. So whoever made this, whoever posted this leak has caused a lot of debates and talks and that kind of stuff. So props to them for that, I guess. I don't think this leak's true at all. There's things in here that I think are a possibility, but I think for the most part that this is pretty freaking fake. That being said, it goes without saying that it is a possibility. Leaks have come true before. Game of Thrones Season 8 was leaked before it came out, and it was all true. Rise of Skywalker had its entire plot, all the deaths and everything leaked like a month or two ahead of that release, and that was all true. So this does happen. That being said, it's not very likely, especially when you read this, and some of the outlandish and stupid stuff that happens in this just does not seem like something Naughty Dog would be doing. So I'll start off with the beginning, which says, I am the immediate family member of somebody working on The Last of Us Part 2. That's a pretty big red flag right there. Obviously, I guess it's a possibility, but that whole, oh yes, I know somebody who's working on The Last of Us thing, that gets used so much in leaks, and it just doesn't even sound realistic anymore. As you know, The Last of Us Part 2 will be focused on Ellie. The story's main driving point is the romance that briefly kindled between Dina and Ellie. Now, that's something that already kind of just seems, like, off to me. Now, I think that obviously their relationship is going to be one of the main driving forces of this game, but the way that they just word it as the romance that briefly kindled between Dina and Ellie, it makes it sound like they don't spend much time really developing it, and, if we're supposed to care that much about this relationship, because it's what the entire game's about, the fact that it's only touched on briefly, they're basically asking us to just immediately say, yes, I care for what's going on, and I think that's already fake. Ellie and Joel are distant because of Joel being controlling, stemming from the decision in the first game, but they are trying to start to mend their relationship. Now, I do think that Ellie and Joel, there's going to be some, thing between them in this game because of what happened at the end of the first one. I think everybody at this point can agree that Ellie probably knows Joel lied to her at the end there, so she knows, or she most likely can take a pretty good guess at what actually happened with the Fireflies, and Joel's decision. So I think that it is possible there's going to be something between them because of that, and we know that Joel is going to be overprotective. There's that whole scene in the beginning of the 2018 E3 gameplay where Jesse says that your old man's really laying it into me again, saying how I can't go here, can't do this, can't do that, that he gets very, touchy or whatever like that. Not touchy's not the right word, but he gets very overprotective whenever it's you going out on these missions. So, it's obvious that Joel is going to be overprotective and he really wants to, make sure Ellie's being careful and that kind of stuff. So I think that's all possible. So I think this seems, realistic. There is a love triangle of sorts, not exactly a triangle, but it's just two people who love Dina. Those two people being Jesse and Ellie. Jesse, the Asian guy from the trailers, and Dina were once a couple. Dina is bisexual. Okay, that's obviously true. We know this. Jesse talked about how he was with Dina in the trailer, and I mean, if she's with Ellie and she's with a guy, she's bisexual. When Jesse and Dina are on the outs of their relationships, Dina starts to make advances on Ellie. Due to Dina being the girl who every guy wants and having a history dating men being a central driving force in the story, Ellie is cautious and is unsure of how serious Dina is. However, after several flirtations, However, after several flirtatious gestures, Ellie begins to question if Dina really does love Ellie, and Ellie ultimately begins to fall for her. Act 1 concludes with Dina and Ellie sharing an important, intimate moment solidifying the relationship played through Act 1. That is until they are attacked by a religious group called the Seraphites. Okay, that just sounds stupid to me. So, it's saying that Act 1, which means a third of the game pretty much, is spent with setting up Dina and Ellie's relationship. Now, I don't know. I mean, obviously I think the relationship's going to be a big part of this game, but to spend the entire first, 33% of this game with the relationship, to me, just sounds kind of a little bit dumb. It says that they share their important, intimate moment, which I imagine is not just them kissing, but probably doing something more serious, so, not clickers, but lickers. And then, yeah, it says that they are attacked during that moment. They are then suddenly attacked by the religious sect called the Seraphites. That just sounds very cliche and stupid to me. That just while they're having this moment, all of a sudden, door gets kicked down, Seraphites come in. Goddamn gay people, it sounds very stupid to me and unrealistic. It says that the other group we encounter in the game is the WLF. That's obviously true. Jackson is also attacked. Now, I think that Jackson is going to be attacked in this game. We have that one photo that was leaked about a month ago or so that shows the town, burning down, and I think that is the town that they live in. And that's what I honestly think might be the main driving force in the story. I think that the town's going to be attacked and tons of people are going to die, possibly some big characters that are close to Ellie or something like that. And that's why Ellie wants revenge. I think that's very possible. I kind of have my own theories, which I might cover in another video. I definitely want to. So I'll talk about those later, but so yeah, I do think Jackson's going to be attacked, and that obviously people are going to die there. It says Dina is killed in this attack. Now, there was a leaked video, which is true, which came out, again, about the beginning of this month, where we see Ellie playing the guitar, and right before she's playing the guitar, she's calling out Jesse and Dina's name, and it says that this is in Seattle, day 1 or day 3 or something like that, which means this happens after whatever the opening of the game is. And I don't think the game's going to have you go from Jackson, Wyoming, all the way to Seattle, all the way back to Jackson, Wyoming. That's just, how many miles apart are those places? Like thousands. So I don't see them going back and forth like that. That would just be stupid, and that would take so much time. So that's another thing that just leads to this leak being very fake. But anyways, yeah, so it says that the Seraphites believe they are angels cleansing the wasteland. The end of the world is the cause of the sinners trope. Anyone that is not a Seraphite is considered a wolf or an enemy to the flock. They also refer to themselves as lambs. Now, I think that's all true because they, say wolf or whatnot in the gameplay trailers. That all seems believable. In the vein of SJW baddies, the Seraphites don't like gays because it's a sin. Now, I covered that I don't think they're necessarily going to make the group homophobic. It's honestly a possibility. That being said, I just don't think they're going to go as far as to, have them be Christian. I don't think they're going to specify what religion they are if they are going to be homophobic. I don't think it's out of the question that they're homophobic, but I think that them being, oh yeah, they're this particular religion would just cause a lot of controversy. It says, this is why all the members are usually white males with shaven heads or white women, and the few apostates, the traitors, that leave the group tend to be minorities. So, the only 2 characters we know that are minorities that leave the group in this game are the 2 characters we saw in the gameplay, or the Paris Games Week trailer from, 2017, and 2 people does not make up, all of the minorities. Jesse joins Ellie, and it says that it's Jesse grabbing Ellie's mouth in the trailer, not Joel. He also loved Dina. He is later killed as Ellie watches. Now, I think him being the person that grabs Ellie is actually a possibility. Now, I know that if you slow it down, you can see that it is Joel's face, technically, or it looks like Joel, at least. That being said, I don't necessarily think it is Joel, because Naughty Dog has done it in the past where they change character models completely in trailers to just misdirect, people and whatnot. They did this with The Lost Legacy. We see Chloe and Nadine fighting in a helicopter, but in reality, in the game, it was actually Nadine and Chloe fighting this character named Orca. Chloe and Nadine were not fighting each other. They were teamed up. So Naughty Dog has changed character models in the past in trailers to completely misdirect people. So I think that it's a huge possibility that it is not Joel, because obviously the 2 shots don't even match up, the grabbing shot and the next one where it's Joel saying his line. So I think it's a possibility that isn't Joel. That being said, I don't know if it's necessarily supposed to be Jesse or not, but I think it's a possibility. It says that, yeah, he also loved Dina. He is later killed as Ellie watches. That seems honestly possible that he's going to die. I think he will die, honestly, and I think Ellie watching it, that also seems possible. That all seems realistic. Ellie goes to her old house. Now, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, because Ellie, from what I've gathered from the first game, has been with Marlene ever since she was a child. Marlene's taken care of her since she was, practically a baby, from what it sounds like, because her mother left her, or her mother died or whatever. So I don't know what the old house is referring to, since the Fireflies are constantly moving around. Ellie was at some boarding school, they mentioned that in the first game. So I don't know what this house is referring to. So I think that's fake. It says then Joel joins her until he dies too. That's so bottom line, just oh, he dies. It doesn't explain. It says he joins her and then dies too. So how long is he in the game for? They make it sound like he's there for about 5 minutes. It doesn't explain how he dies. They mention a lot in this that 3 main characters have died so far, and they don't explain at all how their deaths happen. You think they would put a little bit of detail into this, not just saying, Joel joins, then he dies. In the trailer, you can see the Seraphites hanging people. This is because they use the old medieval method called hanging and quartering. They only hang and disembowel former Seraphites. The disembowelment is for traitors or apostates. On the way to avenge Dina, they have to cross through WLF territory. The leader of the WLF is Marlene's brother. So this would obviously be referring to the black character that we saw in the photos. And apparently he's the leader of the WLF, and he just happens to be Marlene's brother, because every black character has to be related to each other, apparently. What's next? Henry and Sam is his children? I think that's really stupid. Joel dies, and Ellie questions if her quest for revenge was worth losing Joel, who she only recently mended her strained relationship with. The Seraphites The Seraphites are all immune. The cuts on their cheek is a test for immunity. They use an infected knife. Now, that's actually a plot point that I don't mind. I actually think this is kind of interesting. My friend Jack hates that idea, but I actually think it's kind of cool. The idea of the group being immune, and that they have, the cut is, a thing where they use an infected knife to see if people are infected. I think that's kind of a cool concept. I don't think it's true. I think that it's just a mark that they have. That being said, I think it's a cool concept, and I don't mind it that much. Flashback happens. The mystery woman in the trailer is Ellie's mom. I think that's something we all figure at this point, that that's going to be Ellie's mother, that's being cut or whatever. I think that's, a pretty big theory at this point, and I stand behind it. Ellie's mom is looking for a cure. She has a baby with a man that is immune. So that way, that means that it's genetics or whatever. The man is killed for sleeping with a wolf or an outsider, so he's supposed to be a part of the Seraphites. Excuse me. Marlene and Anna, the mystery woman, were friends. Really? We know this. Anna gives birth to Ellie and then had Ellie taken away after being born to get her away from Marlene and the Seraphites. So this makes it sound like Marlene, or I guess they're not a part of the same group, but it just sounds weird to me. Marlene, who is WLF, is then sent to retrieve Ellie and eventually finds her, using her friendship with Anna to win Ellie's trust. I don't think that's true. The note in Last of Us Part 1, if I recall, says something about, I don't know if it says that, oh, blah, blah, going to take care of you now, but you also have the Marlene's recorder at the end of the first Last of Us, where she literally states that she feels bad about Ellie having to sacrifice herself, and that she really misses Anna. So I don't get how those things line up whatsoever. Ellie... Yeah, and it just says Ellie ends up with a Seraphite girlfriend who won't turn when they exchange fluids, and that's just where this ends. Kind of vague. Obviously it touches on, I guess, every plot point, but it just ends very randomly. It just says Ellie's mother, whatever, tries to send Ellie away, and then Ellie ends up with a new girlfriend. It doesn't say anything about what happens with the group, what happens with the WLF leader. All that stuff's just left out. It's just, all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's how it ends. So yeah, I think this is complete BS. There are some things in it that obviously are believable, but those are the things we already know. Everything else is very fake sounding. The only thing in here that I actually like the sound of is the idea of, the whole infected knife, and that the group is immune. Because we obviously know there's more immune people in The Last of Us. Marlene mentioned that they tried this whole thing on multiple other people. And another thing I don't get about this, too, is that leak basically states that Marlene knows that Ellie is immune at birth. So why would, Marlene wait, 14 years to try to, see if Ellie's immune? Or, wait 14 years to, try to start to make a cure? You think she would do it very early on, rather than just wait for Ellie to get bitten, You think that if she really wants to create a cure this badly, she would just immediately, okay, get this child bitten, and then we're gonna make a cure. Just seems stupid to me. If it is true, all of it is true, then Jesus Christ, that sounds like a bad game in my opinion. Again, I just don't think it's true. I think there's concepts in it that are true, but as a whole, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't line up. So I'll make a video soon covering my own predictions for the game. That'll probably be up, in the next day or so. But until then, I'm Mr. DVB, and this was me calling out more fake bullshit in The Last of Us Part 2.